Hey guys, welcome to Creativity and Inspiration. I'm Lisa. If you're new, welcome. I'm so happy you found us. And if you keep coming back, thank you. You are so important to us. Today is all about how to go about setting up a still life, either for photography or painting, sketching, that sort of thing. We're also going to talk about how to do a simple mixed media in a journal. So all of that is coming up right now, but I'd like to say before we start, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and click that little bell because it just really will help me out a lot. Also, I had mentioned, I guess at the start of March, that I had got my ears double pierced. Well, you're not going to believe it. I had to go to the ER today to get them taken out because they were so shoved into their backs, that I could not budge them. For 2 weeks, I tried getting those earrings off. Crazy. So that's my crazy story for you guys today. Anyway, let's jump into this video all about setting up a still life mixed media for you. Okay guys, so on your screen right now, you're seeing still life images, and I picked these because these are the perfect still life images, especially if you've never arranged or composed a still life yourself before. And what's so great about these is the person that designed them used a lot of different means, because with still lifes, you want them obviously to be pleasing to the eye. You want them to be easy to photograph or paint. They have to be super photogenic, paintable. And you want the eye to travel around the painting. You don't want it to be forced, and you don't want anybody to miss an element of the still life, whether it's a painting or photography. And the ones I have showing you are perfect because they all use simplicity and height and color to create, and texture to create beautiful still life images. And the first one we're looking at is the desk with the lamp and the book and the coffee cup on it. Now this one your eye moves around with really simple, because you're going from the highest thing, the lamp. Your eye travels down the lamp, then you have the coffee cup, then the eyeglasses, the book, and the desk. Just the way your eye travels with the varying heights is amazing. Now this color, believe it or not, even though it's green, is a neutral. And green and blue are next to each other on the color wheel. They're very calming together. And then you have that pop of yellow thrown in, which is opposite green, which gives you a light warming effect, because overall the colors are very cool. So here we used height for traveling, and we used color to convey the mood. The next still life is the oranges in the blue bowl. Now, orange and turquoise blue are across each other on the color wheel. And when the colors are across from each other on the color wheel, they really pop. They really just go together super, super well. Also, height again has been used by throwing in the leaves. With the oranges, you have the height and movement of the leaves. Then you go down to the orange, the bowl, then the orange, and then the leaf again on the table, and then you're done. They're using color to catch your eye because it really pops. They have a nice black neutral background. And then they use the height to move you through the image. Now let's go to this one with the red pears, green celery. Another example of complementary colors are red and green. And looking at this still life, they've used the color to move your eye and tie it in, because you're moving from the farthest green on that apple, but a little bit of the red showing, into the red pears. Then you've got greens again, and then you finish with a red-green apple. So they're drawing your eye along with just two colors. And here they've used 5 objects, but I guess you could count the pears as one and the apples as one. Because when you're doing a still life, the number of objects in your still life, you want no more than 4. It gets too busy, just too much for your eye to take in. Also, all of these backgrounds are very neutral. You want a neutral background. You want it to add to the story but fade in. Now let's go to the lemons, yellow, I think that's bok choy and limes. Yellow and green are next to each other on the color wheel. So they're called analogous or analogous. They're next to each other. Colors that are next to each other go together, and they offer a familiarity. Everybody's like, oh yeah, yellow and green definitely go together. This still life is using what's called a triad of colors. And it's 3 colors on the color wheel that are equal distances apart. And that's blue, orange, and green. And as you can see, this still life really pops because you're using the triad, the triangle theory of a color wheel. And again, all the backgrounds have been super neutral. So when you set up your own still life, remember, keep your background neutral. Especially for beginners designing still lifes, I would say use height like our lamp here or our oranges in the blue bowl, because you have height and you go from the tallest object down to the ground, basically, the desktop. And that's a great way to help somebody's eye move through your still life. Doing still lifes is fun to paint, fun to photograph, but what if you wanted to do the mixed media? That's amazing. Let's look at this orange and orange with leaves. I mean, the bowl could be paint, the oranges could be felt, the leaves could be fabric, it could be ribbons, whatever. You could get a lot of different textures. The background in the table could be paint. That's what a true mixed media piece is. When you mix together different materials to create a cohesive, singular image. What if you wanted to do a still life in a journal? How would you do it? Because these are kind of larger things. Now, can a still life be one thing? Sure it can. All a still life is an object or objects that create a composition that you want to look at. Okay. So what I have here is this journal that we're going to work on, this coffee dyed page right here. Have this piece of pink paper. I have this card with words on it. I have some paint, and then I'm going to get my pen. And that's all we're going to use to create this. Well, maybe one other thing, but that's it. And all I'm going to do is create a flower in a little bit of a vase. Now, I have a flower stamped on this page. I don't know if you can see it right there. But we're going to use that as our flower. But it doesn't show up right now, so I'm going to show you how we just show this up and show it out. So I'm going to tear this, and I'm going to put it as part of my quadrant, because I'm breaking this page, or this section of the page, into 4 quadrants. This is how you can make a mixed media still life on paper too. But now I'm going to come in and draw a flower. And this is the area where I'm going to draw my flower. You've got 1 quadrant, 2 quadrant, 3, 4. And that's where my flower is going to go. And what I want is, Okay, there's my flower, and then I'm going to put my center, and just like that, come in and add a little shading around the edge. I'm going to add my shading around the coffee dyed part. Then on the pink part, I'm going to use a pink highlighter to kind of come in and add some shade around it. And the little bit of the center that's on my pink paper, I'm going to add in some yellow for the center, and that's it. Okay, let me come in and darken the center up a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in my music paper. And all I'm going to do is cut the shape of a small bud vase. Just right there, so I need to trim it off. The little, yeah, I like the little pot looking one. Looks like a little flower pot. And then I'm gonna bring in some green paint. It's a very sheer paint, but you get the idea. And that's the way you can get a mixed media still life look on a journal page. You just pick one thing and you can make it the whole center of the page, because you don't have a lot of room. You might want to leave room for writing on your journal page too. So that's one way to create a still life on your journal page, is you just set up a flower, one flower in a little vase or pot, and then you can create it like that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below. Do you like to do still lifes? Have you ever set up a still life? Have you ever set up your own still life? Or do you think you might now with some of the tips and tricks? I will see you on Saturday. We're going to talk doodles and some cool things that I got to share with you. I'll see you on Saturday. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button with that little bell. And tell your friends, share, because we want to grow, grow, grow. Bye-bye, guys.